got a late arriving crowd. So,
Oh, we do. And I'm trying to manage the admittance button as best I can.
yeah, that's one feature I don't like, but it's hard to disable it. So,
Well, sir, it's above my pay grade. So
Zoom can be a great tool in so many ways, but yet it comes with its issues.
it does that. And anyone who knows me at all knows that I am tech challenged to a large degree.
you're selling yourself short, Brian. Come on, you know, lots more.
Well, I can spell Zoom, sir. No, I'm serious. I could not do what Kirsten is doing for us today. And Tish, of course, set this up, but Kirsten's running it, and Anna's done that before. What I would like to do, those who are on Zoom video, names appear, but if those on the phone can send us a message or announce who you are, that would be helpful to me as far as tracking attendance. Okay. Judge is an FYI until, Judge Streety.
Yes.
As an FYI until Judge Carroll flips the switch and gets us underway. What I'm seeing on my screen is we thus far have a broad spectrum of programs and agencies and nonprofits represented.
Yeah, I think we're ready to go.
Let's do it. I'm going mute.
Okay. Morning, everybody. It's an honor and a privilege to be talking to you today about some programs that look at legal issues that veterans face. And the first speaker we have today is Judge Michael Streety, who presides over the Veterans Treatment Courts here in Jefferson County. And I'll introduce Judge Streety in a more formal way in a minute, but Veterans Treatment Court started in Buffalo, New York many years ago when a judge decided that it made sense to try to give some treatment to veterans that resolved their problems rather than resulted in their incarceration. And so as a result of that, Veterans Treatment Courts began to spread throughout the United States. And Judge Streety will talk to you in detail about what Veterans Treatment Courts do. First one in Alabama was in Shelby County. Judge Bostic ran the pilot court. The Jefferson County Veterans Treatment Court was started by one of my law school classmates, Pete Johnson, who was a tanker in Vietnam, and he got the ball rolling. And quite frankly, I think the Jefferson County Veterans Treatment Court is a model for the rest of the state. It's incredibly well run. And we really are fortunate that Judge Streety is willing to devote the time and effort it takes to do the Jefferson County Veterans Treatment Court. Judge Streety has an amazing background. He's a graduate of Miles College and the Birmingham School of Law. But in terms of the criminal justice system, he's done just about everything there is to do. He's been a deputy sheriff. He has been a probation officer. He was a senior trial attorney in the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. And for our purposes, most importantly, he is a veteran. He was elected to the bench in 2016. He is now the presiding circuit judge over the criminal division of the Jefferson County Circuit Court. So it's a real honor and a privilege to introduce you. Judge Streety, take it away.
Thank you, Judge Carroll. I really appreciate this opportunity to let the folks know what we do here in Veterans Treatment Court. And I'll start off by saying that I'll let you all know that the Veterans Treatment Court is a favorite docket of mine because it presents a different scenario where, many cases that I deal with, and I'll have to say that Veterans Treatment Court is another added duty that I have. I still have a regular docket where I handle capital murder cases and trials and that type of thing. And so the treatment court is a court that I volunteered to do, and I'm glad I did. I took over Veterans Treatment Court back in 2018 from Judge Laura Petro, who took it over from Judge Pete Johnson, who retired, of course. And it is my favorite docket because it gives me an opportunity to have a direct impact on the outcome of these cases where these veterans come to court and they are in these situations where they become involved in the criminal justice system. And we're only trying to do this in all treatment courts, quite frankly, but in particular, in Veterans Treatment Court, we're trying to assist these folks to get back on the right path, to be productive members of society. And that's what the aim is. And it was recognized a long time ago that the camaraderie in veterans assisting veterans is a therapeutic element that helps these folks back into their communities to go back to their families and become productive members of society. So I have a real passion for it. I appreciate the effort that all the judges and the other people who are involved in Veterans Court across this state and across the nation, quite frankly. And this is how the Veterans Treatment Court is really set up. It is a deferred prosecution program. And I start by saying that, but emphasizing one particular fact. It is still an accountability process, but we are trying to make sure that these folks are not unnecessarily incarcerated. But it is an accountability process, and I want to emphasize that. It's not a process where the person is not held accountable for their actions. It's not. But we recognize that veterans, they need special consideration for all they've given to our country and to our communities. And that's what we try and do in Veterans Treatment Court. And I don't do it by myself, quite frankly. It's an effort that is a team effort. And Veterans Treatment Court is not focused on the offense itself. It is focused, like I said, on assisting the veteran. And so I can't do it alone. So I have these folks who are part of the team. And I'll start off by saying that it starts with the district attorney's office because, quite frankly, it's in the code of Alabama that the district attorney has the sort of authority over these treatment courts. Though I preside over Veterans Treatment Court, the district attorney's office, or Danny Carr here locally, must agree to participate in the program. And there's what we call a memorandum of understanding. And this is a document signed by all the participants to include the prosecutor, the judge, the defense bar, the public defender's office, the Veterans Administration, and also UAB. UAB has a community justice program that operates through the Department of Psychiatry and Neurobiology. And all these folks come together to make up the treatment court team. The treatment court meets once monthly with me presiding over the cases. However, they have a case manager. Of course, the judge presides over the matter as judge, make certain determinations about how the cases go. But you have the prosecutor who makes the offer for the person to be involved in Veterans Treatment Court. And then you have the Veterans Administration, and they have a representative here too in court. And he is what we call the Veteran Justice Outreach Officer, or the VJO specialist. We have a case manager who's on the team, and that case manager handles those cases on a weekly basis where many of the veterans report to the case manager weekly or bi-weekly or even monthly, depending on that person's special situation. We also have a peer specialist, and a peer specialist who's on the team is really a former addict who can give some insight from what it's like to go through substance abuse issues or even perhaps mental health issues. And we also have mentors. These are folks who are former service members who volunteer their time to come up to the courtroom when we have court sessions, excuse me, and speak directly with the veterans, giving them advice, life advice, or just assisting them and providing support. So this is a collective effort by all these folks to effectively run Veterans Treatment Court, and quite frankly, to get the desired result that we're trying to reach. And as stated, it's just simply trying to reacclimate the veteran back to the community. This is how the court is set up. We have what we call staffing. All the folks that I just mentioned meet on the court date and decide what to do specifically geared toward a veteran. We'll discuss each case individually and decide what approach to take with this particular veteran. And we understand that there's no situation that fits every particular veteran. So we discuss the problems with each particular veteran individually. I mentioned that the DA determines the course of who is admitted into Veterans Treatment Court. Now, you can't be admitted into Veterans Treatment Court if you have a violent offense. It's mostly geared toward those folks who are veterans and they have non-violent offenses, maybe possession of drugs, possession of marijuana, maybe property crimes and those type of crimes. Now, every now and then we might have an exception where we'll take someone in who's been charged with a violent offense, but there are some extraordinary circumstances surrounding that particular offense, and that person will be admitted into Veterans Treatment Court. Most people think that if the person has a dishonorable discharge from the military, that they don't qualify for Veterans Treatment Court. That's not necessarily so. We don't exclude anyone who was a former service member just because of a dishonorable discharge. Now, the only issue with a veteran entering into Veterans Treatment Court is, if they have a dishonorable discharge, is that they are not able to receive some of the benefits that are offered by the Veterans Administration. And that's the only downside. And so sometimes we have to take a different course of action with those particular veterans, but we do everything we can to find assistance for them that is outside of the Veterans Administration. When the team meets for staffing on court date, sometimes we have to discuss inpatient treatment or outpatient treatment or whatever therapy that particular veteran needs. Staffing usually takes about anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, depending on the number of veterans we have scheduled for court that particular day. After we have our staffing meeting, all of the participants or the team members go into court, and we call each particular veteran up to the bench and deal with their particular situation in court, one person at a time. And this effort is to assist them in the right direction. And we often get their input as to what's going on with them so that we can provide whatever assistance that we can. In this process, and Judge Carroll knows this, that there are ups and downs when we're dealing with these individuals in Veterans Treatment Court with the veterans. And sometimes we have to impose sanctions, and that's where I come in, to make those decisions where I have to sometimes impose sanctions to sort of assist veterans. And quite frankly, I don't always get it right, and I need to say that. There have been opportunities where I've needed to take a veteran into custody for treatment purposes, but we've gone a different route, and sometimes that has not ended well. And I'll say the treatment court is needed so much because we have witnessed some devastating results from people who were in Veterans Treatment Court, but who were not so successful even just this year. I think we can count, we've had maybe 3 individuals to pass away based on substance abuse issues. But we try everything we can in every avenue, every program that is available to us to assist the veterans. The issue of funding for Veterans Treatment Courts is a big issue. There's absolutely no state funding for Veterans Treatment Courts. We're funded primarily through grants that are obtained by the Community Justice Program through UAB, their Department of Psychiatry and Neurobiology. Every year they apply for these grants, and sometimes they are awarded funds from the Department of Justice. And this is how these programs are run. This is how the case managers are compensated and how the peer specialists are compensated through these grants that are awarded through the Community Justice Program. Now, I can talk about this all day. I promise you I can. And I don't want to keep rambling. If you have questions, please just let me know, Judge Carroll, you can guide that. But this is primarily the setup of Veterans Treatment Court. And this is how we operate with this team approach. And I got to tell you, it's been quite successful over the years in the time that I've been involved with it. We've had many, many graduates who have graduated from the program. And what I've noticed most is that the recidivism rate is absolutely very, very low. Now, in saying that, we do have veterans now and then who come back through the program twice. And of course, there is no limit really to how many times you can come through the program, because we understand that most of these veterans have ongoing needs. That's the basic setup of the program, of how we operate. And I want to talk about just briefly what happens if a person sort of graduates from the program. And then that's where Judge Carroll and his folks at CVETS have helped us tremendously. The aim, like I said, is for them to reacclimate themselves back into society and become productive members. But you all know that if you come through the criminal justice process, that you have a criminal record. And what we try to do is steer these folks to maybe CVETS or some other council and get their records expunged or get the offense to be removed from their criminal records to really give them a fresh start. And the enthusiasm and the motivation that these veterans have, knowing that they can just have a new start, just a new beginning, is a very rewarding thing for us and them. And so, you know, my time in Veterans Treatment Courts has been really a highlight of my career, because I foundationally believe that, you know, not only should the criminal justice process work as intended, hold those accountable, but there has to be paths to redemption in the process. And Veterans Treatment Court and Drug Court and Mental Health Court, all of these treatment courts are just a path to redemption. And that's how we sort of operate in this effort to help our veterans. Right now, I have about maybe 26 to 30 veterans who are in Veterans Treatment Court. And I see them monthly and sometimes bi-monthly or even weekly, quite frankly, if I have a case that needs special attention. Anyway, well, that's my initial spiel about Veterans Treatment Court, and I'm certainly open to any questions that you all might have or any other concerns.
Well, Judge, let me get you to contrast. Let's say a veteran doesn't get into Veterans Treatment Court, the difference between the way he's treated in Veterans Treatment Court versus the regular criminal justice system.
Well, and I'll just be frank with you that oftentimes, if they're not admitted into Veterans Treatment Court, there is this possibility of incarceration based on the offense. And an admission into Veterans Treatment Court sort of, it does away with that issue of incarceration. Now, mostly Veterans Treatment Courts the time in Veterans Treatment Court lasts about 12 months. On occasion, we've had a person who's done so well where they've graduated in under the 12 months, but typically a person stays in veterans treatment course for 12 months. And subsequent to that, maybe the case is dismissed given the circumstances. But it really is a measure that will remove the threat of incarceration. That's primarily the main benefit from Veterans Treatment Corps.
We've got two questions from the audience. The first is, how do you volunteer to be a mentor?
Excellent question. And I really appreciate that question as well. All you have to do is really contact the vet court team. In particular, I would say the case managers, Chandra Williams with the Community Justice Program with UAB, or you can email me and I'll leave my email address or have Judge Kara forward it to you all. And I can put you in contact with the right folks to set you up to be a mentor. And typically, nationally, we want our mentors to go through some type of training program to know how to deal with the veterans. But we absolutely take volunteers, and those who have served in the military, of course, we have a preference for those folks, but we will, of course, welcome anyone who wants to be a mentor.
And the second question is, what can be done to increase funding for veterans treatment courts, or to get some initial funding, do you think?
Well, it has to be some legislative action, quite frankly. And I think the important thing is to reach out to your legislators to let them know what effort we're making in order to make a difference in the community. Not only that, you know, the benefit is that these folks aren't incarcerated, and people know that if you're incarcerated, it takes money to be incarcerated. So it's not a situation where funds are not needed or the funds will not go to a good cause. It really helps the system in a sense where I think it will reduce the costs, in particular the cost of incarceration. And just reach out to your legislators and let them know that it should be a priority, because we really need legislation that will help fund these courts.
How about some other questions? It's a quiet bunch.
I put one out there, Michael, to you. I send it directly to you. Do you work with nonprofits to provide community service opportunities?
Absolutely. We work with nonprofit agencies all the time. We have many agencies that come up to court every single court date to meet with the veterans or to speak with them or to provide services to them. And we absolutely work with nonprofit agencies, and we welcome them, quite frankly.
Okay, because I've been working with Calhoun County now for about 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
We've had individuals out here that have worked. I run a nonprofit building transitional housing for homeless veterans.
Oh, that's excellent. Excellent.
And
Well,
I've had people come out from the court either to work off fees or to work off community service.
Yeah, well, here's how a Veterans Treatment Court is set up. Quite frankly, once they plead into Veterans Treatment Court, we hold off the actual guilty plea. So no fines, court costs, or fees are imposed. Now, oftentimes they have restitution. And so what we try and do is get them employment where they can pay off the restitution, but we don't impose court costs, fines, and fees when they initially enter into Veterans Treatment Court. We try not to do that.
Some other questions.
Your Honor, I got a question.
Sure.
It's Mr. Chain with Veterans Upward Bound.
Yeah, of course, the Veterans Upward Bound, they have helped us tremendously, and they work with several veterans here in Jefferson County. So I really appreciate your effort. And Sarah Altman, I don't know if she's on here, but
She is.
oh, great.
Well, that was a great explanation of the Veterans Program. I guess one of my questions was, a veteran gets picked up, he gets by the police, goes to jail. How do they know, what's the process of that veteran informing the system to let them know he's a veteran to be able to even get access to the Veterans Program?
That's an excellent question. So when they are booked into the county jail, there is a questionnaire that they answer. that will ask if they have served in the armed forces or not. But it's primarily up to defense counsel. In particular, the Jefferson County Public Defender's Office. They understand that we're trying to seek out these folks who've been incarcerated who are veterans. So when they are appointed counsel, in that questionnaire, the defense attorney will ask if they've had prior military service. And so that's typically how we are made aware that there's a veteran who's involved in the criminal justice process.
Good question.
Excellent question.
Some other questions? Well, Judge, we'll let you get back to your formal duties, but I want to recommend to everybody on this call that go see the Veterans Treatment Court in action. It really is an amazing process where the criminal justice system is focused on figuring out how to make the individual a productive member of society rather than punishing him and using him as a way to raise tax revenue. So, Judge, thanks for all you do for veterans. Brian's got his hand up.
Quick question, Judge. If
Sure.
you covered when the VTC session is in your court, I was making notes and it went right over my head. Could you tell us again when you hold VTC?
Well, what I'll do is I'll pass along those dates to Judge Carroll because it's not on any given particular day.
Okay.
What I have is a calendar where I've set those cases for my docket, but I have to set those cases around my trial docket. In the weeks that I'm in trial, I'm not able to hold Veterans Treatment Court, but I do have it for the entire year. I just don't have it in front of me. But I'm more than happy to provide that to Judge Carroll, and maybe he can distribute that to the folks who have an interest in coming to court to see how we operate in person. And I certainly welcome that. So that's what I'll do. I'll pass it on to Judge Carroll.
Brian, I just saw a message from Kirsten that she's got a question off the live stream. I can't figure it out. Maybe you're more tech savvy than I am.
Yeah, if she sent it to you in a private chat, I don't see it.
Okay.
Judge, we have somebody asking a question on Facebook, and that question is, what is the purpose of treatment courts, and are there other populations supported through treatment courts similar to veteran treatment courts?
Great question. Great question. Well, the purpose of treatment courts is to, if a person if it's not necessary for a person to be incarcerated, and many times it is not, for non-violent offenses, and in particular, folks who are suffering with mental health issues and substance abuse issues. This is just another path to hold the person accountable, but to assist that person in getting back to the right place in our community. So that is the baseline purpose of it. We want to assist these people who don't necessarily need to be incarcerated. They have these substance abuse issues, these mental health issues, and sometimes behavioral health issues that don't warrant incarceration. It's a system of accountability, but yet it still allows a person to be a productive member of society. And that's really how I would like everyone to think about the process. It's not a process that does not hold folks accountable. It is also a system of accountability, but a path to redemption as well.
And as Judge Streety noted in his introduction, there is a drug treatment court here and a mental health treatment court in Jefferson County. So both doing great work.
And the drug treatment court is run by Judge Maria Fortune, and the mental health court is by Judge Stephen Wallace. And we also help each other out, because I'm actually the sort of the backup judge for mental health treatment court, and Judge Wallace is the sort of a backup judge for Veterans Treatment Court.
Well, Judge, thanks very much for your time. It was great, as always, seeing you and listening to you. And thank you so much for all you do for the veteran community in this area.
Well,
Sir, we have one more question, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Sure.
Beverly Gephardt.
Hey, thank you. It's actually not a question. Judge Streety, I'm the Deputy Attorney General with the Alabama Department of Veterans Affairs. I'm I'm very much aware of the wonderful benefits that veteran treatment courts play in the role of the individuals that they help. I also know that for those courts to be successful, it takes special people. It takes people who are willing to take that extra step and address the individual. And I just want to thank you for the good work that you're doing for us.
Well, thank you so very much, and that is very much appreciated.
Well, Judge, thank you again. You can stay on or you can get off, whatever you'd like to do, but thanks again.
Well, I'm going to get off because I have to. So I greatly appreciate you all for having me. And again, I extend an invitation to all of you to come to court, to sit in, and I hope that you find it rewarding. Okay.
Thank you, Judge.
Take
Thank
care.
you, sir. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye. You're welcome.
Brian, I'll turn it back to you.
Okay, were you and Kevin going to talk about
Yes.
CVET, sir?
Yes. So the next part of this program is to talk a little bit about an initiative that we have at the Cumberland School of Law to help veterans. It's the Cumberland Veterans Legal Assistance Clinic, which is also short form CVETS, C-VETS. We've been in existence since 2020, and the purpose of the clinic is to help veterans with civil legal aid issues. And the kinds of things that we do are varied, but mainly we do landlord-tenant issues. You know, landlord is doing something to the veteran needs help with, or the conditions in the apartment the veteran is renting are terrible, something like that. We'll help with that. There are consumer credit issues all the time. You know, we see veterans all the time to get these payday loans where the interest essentially doubles the loan amount in a very short period of time, those kinds of things. We'll do uncontested family law matters. That is, we will assist veterans with uncontested divorces. And again, this is all without charge, and it's designed to help veterans who cannot afford legal counsel. Lately, we have been doing a lot of elder law issues. The elder law issues come to us very often from the VA, where a person in the hospital is seriously ill and realizes that there are documents that should have been generated that weren't. So we do a lot of power of attorneys for veterans. We do a lot of wills for veterans. We do a lot of advanced healthcare directives for veterans. So that partnership with the VA has been great. And it also, you realize how important these documents are to have before you get into any sort of physical or mental health issues. We do a lot of expungements, as Judge Streety mentioned. If a veteran comes through Veterans Treatment Court, he or she is eligible to have the records of their conviction and arrest and that sort of thing expunged from public records. So we will also handle that. The clinic revolves around 8 students every semester that we have who are in residence in the clinic. They're the primary contact with veterans. They do most of the work putting the veterans' cases together and that sort of thing. And all of the students tell me that it's really been an eye-opening experience for them. First of all, to deal with veterans, which most of them have not. And second of all, to deal with people that are in poverty, that don't have computers, that don't have access to scan machines, that don't have basic transportation. So it's been a real eye opener and has made them aware of the problems that face an awful lot of veterans. There are 2 supervising attorneys in the clinic, me, and I'm really ably assisted by Kevin Patton, who is a partner at the Maynard Nexon law firm here in town. Kevin's a graduate of the United States Naval Academy. He holds 2 different law degrees from Duke, a JD and an LLM. But most importantly, for our purposes, he was an A-6 carrier pilot who flew combat missions in the Gulf War. So I'll turn it over to Kevin for some of his comments. Kevin, thanks.
Absolutely. Well, you all have really had a treat this morning. Two judges, both veterans, and both very experienced and making huge impacts on our veterans here in Central Alabama and Jefferson County. I want to just, before I talk a little bit about the CAVC program that Judge Carroll created and I've been involved in since early this year at his invitation, but talk just a little bit about Judge Streety and the Veterans Treatment Court. He invited our class of law students to come and observe the court in session. And Judge Carroll and I were just amazed at the care that Judge Streety has for these veterans, for these 25 to 30 veterans who have, found themselves in the criminal justice system, but have that history of serving their country and want to turn their lives around. And Judge Streety reminds me, in addition to being a pilot, my ground job in the Navy was as a legal officer. So I assisted our commanding officer with non-judicial punishment. And I know there are a lot of veterans on the call, you know what captain's mast looks like. You know what happens when a sailor or soldier gets stands at attention in front of his commanding officer and has to answer for some offense. And typically what happened there, what I saw, was that commanding officer knew this soldier or sailor, knew what he needed to motivate him to get him back on track. And Judge Streety brings that same level of to go for your own benefit and see sort of these lives being turned around through this process of the Veterans Treatment Court. I would encourage you to do it. The court that the Judge Carroll and I went to with our students, Veterans Upward Bound, was there and gave a short presentation to the veterans on how they could more easily apply to college and the assistance that was available to them. There was also the Volunteers of America were there with some resources for homeless veterans. And so it's a great forum for those who want to support veterans to come and really directly connect with some vets who are working hard to turn things around. Our clinic gets involved on the back end. So after the vets graduate from the Veterans Treatment Program, they come out, but they've got a conviction on their record. And the clinic and our law students can assist with expungement. That is the removal of that conviction from their record, which is normally quite an onerous process for an individual to go through. The Veterans Treatment Court and Judge Streety streamlined that significantly, but there's still a good bit of paperwork that needs to be filed, and our clinic and our law students are able to help veterans with that, in addition to all the other things the judge talked about, the landlord-tenant issues, the consumer debt issues, family law issues, and like he said, all that end-of-life planning that, can really put a family into crisis when there isn't a plan. And we've got those forms, we've got the knowledge to do that when it's not obviously a complicated thing, since our primary workforce are law students. But we're very good at what we do. So what I've seen just in my semester working with Judge Carroll is these students say this was the most impactful class they had in their whole law school career. So it means a lot to them. And then I've heard from the veterans, the assistance I got here enabled me to get out of the hole. And I'm able to, what's something that could have tripped them up, sort of get past, move on, and those hurdles we all face. And when you're sort of living on the edge, as some of our veterans are, some assistance in getting over those hurdles, and our clinic is able to provide that. And we're proud and honored to be able to do it for our fellow veterans.
Yeah, Kevin's been a great addition, and sort of small world. The airplane I flew in Vietnam was an A-6A intruder, and Kevin in the Gulf War flew the A-6E intruder. So it was a much more sophisticated airplane, but a great airplane nonetheless. Any questions about our clinic that we can answer?
No, but I have a totally unrelated comment to about A6s, but as Kevin knows this, but as Kevin may not know and probably has no reason to, but back when I guess Judge was home from Vietnam when I went to what used to be NAS QB Point for nearly 2 years as a parachute rigger. And hopefully you never needed the services that our rating provided to aircrew, sir.
We did not need them.
Say,
That
none
was
of
great.
my equipment in those 21 months was used, and I'm delighted of that.
I never did. I had 2 friends that had to punch out during the Gulf War, and both their parachutes opened. And whenever I had a chance to slap a para rigger on the back and thank him, I did that because you really want that to work when you need it.
The number for our veterans clinic, if you've got a veteran that needs legal assistance, is 205-726-4735. Brian, thanks.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Kevin. And Judge Streety was really, really interesting with some outstanding information. And I hope that those who were and were not on the Zoom this morning will view the video that'll be sent out with a newsletter. One thing I want to mention, and this is related to legal issues. I received an inquiry earlier this week about a veteran with a dishonorable from the Vietnam War. And his wife had inquired through one of our partners about getting it upgraded. The gentleman is still gainfully employed, apparently at a good career, but he wants the personal satisfaction of seeing the dishonorable upgraded to a better level. Now, Kirsten, if you're listening, I referred, and I wish I'd researched this before we came live, but I referred him to the organization that briefed us back in March out of DC, or at least the DC area, to handle upgrades, because I'm pretty sure CVETS does not get into that arena.
We've got a contact though in Mobile that might be able to help the guy. So
Okay.
just email me and I'll give you the contact info.
Okay. As a matter of fact, you may have done that before, sir. Anyone else have input, questions on veterans treatment courts or CVETs that perhaps either Judge or Kevin can respond to? Let's take a few minutes. We're not going to run over today, but let's take a few minutes to get everybody's. I'm going to open the floor, but you will be muted in 120 seconds. So we're not going to let you do what I do so well, and that's bloviate. So if you have something good for the order, you're welcome to say it, but be succinct, because I know where the mute button is. So
I'll jump in.
okay, go.
So we're in the process. This is Dave Flounders from Samson Strength. We're in the process of setting up an equine therapy program at our facility, as well as doing the transitional housing. This past weekend, I worked with Brian, and also I saw him here earlier. James Dickey to get a veteran a electric wheelchair that since he hadn't been signed up into the VA yet. So that's moving forward. That's actually going out today.
Good deal.
120 seconds.
And Dave Flounders is actually picking it up and delivering it.
Actually, the people that have the chair are delivering it.
Oh, okay, good.
They're out of Leeds and they're going to go ahead and drop it off since they're already up there.
Good
They
deal.
have another horse facility that they work with up there and they're bringing it out.
Good deal. Daryl, 2 minutes, sir. You're muted. You're muted. Daryl.
I got it now. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for all your support for the 1 Yard at a Time Gala for the Letterman USA. Desmond and our latest volunteer, Brittany. And Brittany, I'll hope to be able to have a chance to introduce yourself. We have a big announcement to make in case anybody is interested. The Letterman USA will be launching a podcast called the 1 Yard at a Time Review, probably at the end of May. And you know, General Burford, we're hoping maybe we can get you to interview with us at some future point in time. And I just want to let you guys know about that there's going to be something new that's we're going to be adding to our portfolio. And that's going to allow us to not only interview military people and some politicians, people that support the organization and our causes. But I just want to throw that out there. And then, of course, Brian, you'll introduce Brittany. And Des is on this morning as well, I think. Thank y'all.
Okay, Brittany, you want to take 20 seconds to tell us who you are?
Good morning. My name is Brittany Bales. I just recently came on board with Letterman of USA as their grant writer. So I'm just kind of jumping in both feet to kind of learn all I can. And so I'm so glad to be here this morning.
Thank you for joining us. Jimmy Dickey and Alan Cook, do y'all have anything that you would like to say about an October event I've heard a little bit about? Actually, there are two events that are upcoming that may not be totally firmed up yet, but would y'all care to give us a 20,000-foot view of either or both of those?
Hi, Brian, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay,
Clearly.
yeah, so it's locked in a date, Little Mountain State Party Day event. It's
You're
going to be 20, I'll be getting out flyers and information to all the partners that want to participate. Additionally, we'll want to do like a cookout, resource fair, let veterans into work for free, and we'll have a whole pavilion area where we can sit up right on the beach. And then we have on 14th of July, we're going to do another vet center open house where we'll be doing the same thing with community partners wanting to set up with canopy tent and that sort of thing like we did last year, a great event and well attended. So also I'm here and say thank you to Dave for the connection and to you, Brian, for getting that hand up so quickly getting a veteran. And I had John Pinion get contact with him about getting enrolled. So it shows how the CAVC or the Central Alabama Veterans Collaborative really works to get to bring veterans valued resources.
Okay, good deal. What's the date on that, Jimmy? Because you broke up a lot, at least on my end.
The date is August 26th.
August 26th. And that's at the museum? Alan? I can't hear him.
So we have two different ones, whatever. I know there's the one that the vet center is going to be putting on. I think it's more of a resource, and I think we're doing a little bit of a kind of just get veterans out. I'm not nailed down the date on that or whatever with them. I just know we're partnering with them to help provide some of the resources they need to get the event off the ground. But ours, there's another one that we partnered with, I believe, with CAVC too, and Right at Home, Encompass Health, a couple other. And of course, we reach out to a bunch of corporate partners for ours. There's one that's going on that the Southern Museum of Flight is wanting to host a career and resource fair. I think they have 60. They have they already got like 30 groups that have already committed to it. There's roughly around 60 tables available that we will host out there, and that's going to be October. I'll share the flyer through you, Brian, or whatever. But it's October 5th. It's 11 to 2. The VA John Pinion's group, whatever, is kind of going to help push it out as well. But it's through there, and I think we have, like I said, there's a host of different career incentives out there, as well as we hope that everybody with CAVC can provide provide some resources that you guys individually do. The CVETs all of those things, whatever. I think we'll have a pretty good turnout there. We're providing food as well, lunch for everybody to come out. And of course, not just veterans, but their family members as well, spouses that may be looking for career changes or anything like that. We're going to hopefully have out there, but 2 different events. Well, we're going to try to help one aspect of things with this joint effort out there at the Southern Museum, but also a Jimmy's group out there at the Vet Center. I don't have the firm dates and stuff like that for that. Well, we're just helping provide some of the resources for it.
Okay, thank you. Anyway, those are coming, details to follow when known and ironed out. Let's see. Beverly Gephardt, do you have a few comments representing ADVA? Okay, Gary Weaver on from Alabama Community College System. You have anything for us, sir? We're going to be talking, at 1 o'clock about ETS?
Correct, Brian. I don't have anything except it's just a pleasure to be with you all, and hopefully from the Alabama Community College System, we can offer value-added services and solutions to our veterans from the 2-year side of things to help pathway them into opportunities to sustain their livelihood as they move forward.
Thank you. And Beverly, I'm going to get back to you in a moment, but ETS, you're going to be hearing more from me on that right now. Anna Taylor and I have 2 referrals for soldiers coming. One's retiring. He's up in Huntsville. He hasn't responded yet to outreach efforts. And then we've got a younger guy being medical boarded right now. He's up at Fort Drum. And apparently the Army is very, very, very short-handed. We knew that, but I didn't know that they don't even have enough to process medical boards. So the guy's been pushed from May to June to August and now December to get fully processed out of the Army due to medical issues back in particular. But that's the reason that Gary and I are going to talk this afternoon early. But you're going to be hearing more from me on that, because if y'all are interested in being a sponsor and helping veterans transitioning from military service and uniform to civilian clothes, we want to do that. We will get more residents and employees for the state of Alabama. Beverly, ADVA.
Hey, sorry, guys. Thank y'all for letting me join today. I'm always just amazed at the wonderful things that y'all are able to accomplish collectively. It really is a model for the rest of the state. And I do point to y'all when I talk to other groups in other cities about, this is one group that has it going on, for lack of a better way of saying that. As far as what the department is doing up in y'all's area, at least, in y'all's area, at least in the fall, we're going to be doing a TBI summit. I'm sure that you'll be hearing more about that as we get closer to that. But TBI is, I think it's that one of those invisible wounds that people don't understand, and we're starting to realize the importance of it and that we do need to understand more about it. And so we are partnering with the Alabama Department of Rehabilitation Services in order to put that on, I believe it's in September, but in that time frame at least. Also, and Judge Carroll has been helping me with this, and I appreciate it. But there has been some talk in the legislature this session about how we can better support veteran treatment courts throughout the state, support the good work that Judge Streety and his companions do across the state. And we are going to continue to be working on that over the summer so that we are ready for something to go back to them with something substantive for next session. But I do want y'all to understand that these courts do amazing work. They thrive. The mentors that he talked about really are the secret sauce that make these things just that much more effective for those involved than just the normal treatment courts, even the drug court, the mental health court, which of themselves are amazing. But you add in our veteran stuff there. But thank you all for everything that you do. You make a real difference. Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you and all the team at ADBA for what y'all do. Let's, I said we weren't going to run over. Anyone else? I've got a couple of comments. One of them just fleeting thought. I'll come back to it in a minute if I can remember it. Anyone else have something real quick from your organization? I know that the June meeting, we're going to have a panel which will be moderated by General Burford on homeless veterans. And can you speak a bit to that, sir? Or I probably know more about who's going to be on there. I know you know one that's unannounced at this point, but you've got the floor, sir.
Yeah, my concept is to have a spectrum of those on the panel, starting with those who've experienced homelessness, those who provide care for the homeless, and those who've turned their life around because of that care, and try to bring people back to that. Also, if we can, build a short list of those who do provide homeless veterans resources for people who might need that in the future.
Good deal. We will be announcing the panelists soon. So yes, Dave Flounders.
I just wanted to say thank you to a couple of individuals and to Post 9/11 that contributed to helping with get a homeless veteran into housing, Section 8 housing here in Ashland. Appreciate it very much.
Thank you. There's at least one person, maybe two on here that I can't connect the dots to your name and an organization. My contact information is in the chat box. Brian Crawford with email and phone number. Please let me know who you are. One is on the phone and two are on Zoom. I'm not going to single you out, but Ellen Robinson, real quick, anything from Vital? Robertson, excuse me.
All right. Hello, everyone. We just have I just want to plug the Connect app as a reminder. So please utilize that as a reminder. It's a treatment finder app, and you can go choose a particular county within the state of Alabama. And it's both for substance use treatment and mental health treatment. And these are ADMH certified facilities, and it's from the age of adolescence on. And so you can please utilize that. We have some upcoming trainings that we're doing. So you can always check our website, vitalalabama.com as well. So the next one that we'll be having is it's called the Alabama A+ Summit. And this is a health equity, health disparities conference, and we'll be traveling around the state. So we'll be in Birmingham, Huntsville, Prattville, and Mobile last week of July.
Good deal. And there are several links to activities, events, training, educational that Vital is hosting or co-hosting that have been in the last two newsletters. So you can get more information there. Sarah, and I'm sorry, I see the gentleman, it looks like you are wearing a shirt with a star on it, which it would indicate to me a law enforcement officer, but I have no idea who you are with Veterans Upward Bound. Do y'all have anything? And this will be the last pitch.
Yeah, actually, we are, and I've talked to Brian about this already. We're putting together a database system to be able to list everybody's organization and your contact information if you want to. It's sort of whatever you're willing to offer to us. We need it for our office, and I think CAVC needs it as well. So I've been working with Brian. We're going to figure out a way to send this out to everybody. And you can input your own stuff. And I have somebody that works in my office that's able to handle the maintenance of it, and we can categorize it and all sorts of things. So we're building a little project for that. And like I said, keep a lookout. I will either put it in the newsletter that Brian does, or I can send it out individually, whatever works best. So just keep an eye out for it. And I'll let David introduce himself. He's new to our VUB staff.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, I'm David Chain, definitely not law enforcement. Retired from the Army just this past September. Came on board with Sarah, took me in as an intern as I'm doing my MSW through Jacksonville State University. And then once my internship was finished, I just got a part-time job because I do enjoy helping the veterans here. I was attending Veterans Court for a while during my internship at Judge Stritty on Tuesdays. I think it's once a month or something like that. Anyway, once or twice a month. So I got real familiar with that process, and been going around to the other courts, the veterans courts, just kind of see the differences in those, and maybe spring some ideas later on to try to make the other counties as good as Jefferson County's Veterans Court would be. And so anyway, that's me.
Okay, thank you. And thank you for your service. Okay. That was last call. So thank you so much for joining us today and for getting engaged in the Zoomcast and questions and comments. Appreciate it. Y'all have a great afternoon and weekend.
You too.
Thank you. Good day.